It's week 2 of Classy Graphics. I have been incredibly impressed by the assignments, enthusiasm, and spirit of learning I've seen during our first week together. In this video, I'd like to take a look at some of the great graphic organizers that were produced for week 1's assignment. I'd also like to answer a few questions and respond to a couple of reflections from our classmates. Then, week 2 is all about designing in black and white. And the optional assignment is a good one. You'll design your own set of customized sticky notes, designs that you can actually print using a regular printer. First, let's meet more of your classmates by watching a few introductions made on our class Flipgrid.
Hey everyone, my name is Laura Lavery. I work in Franklin, Tennessee, and I teach middle school Spanish. Excited for this opportunity to learn some new strategies in the area of technology for my students.
Hi, my name is Cami Butterfield. I go by Teaching with Aptitude on all types of social media. I am from the Midwest, Baxter Springs, Kansas, to be precise. I've taught there for 21 years. This will be my 22nd. I am a one-to-one iPad classroom, and I love doing everything paperless and digitally. So looking forward to taking this class. Tony is one of my social media faves. So looking forward to meeting all the rest of you. So see you later.
Hi, my name is Christina Bustamante, and I live and teach in San Jose, California. I've been in education for 16 years, and next year I'm going to be out of the classroom for the first time as a tech and STEAM coach on my site. I'm very excited, but a little nervous for that change as well. I started exploring Google Drawings a lot this past year, and so I'm excited about learning more tips and tricks for better implementation of Google Drawings and different ways I can use it in my classroom.
Also on our Flipgrid, we have a couple of reflections. First, Megan uses iPads, but what she learns in class is still valuable.
Hello everybody, this is Megan in Phoenix, Arizona. I teach high school and I learned a lot this week, and I appreciated that we were looking at graphic organizers because I use graphic organizers all of the time in my classroom. One thing I didn't expect was that the iPads are not compatible with Google Drawings in terms of the creation aspect. So my students won't be able to create drawings, but that doesn't mean I still can't create graphic organizers, assignments, and things and push those things out to my students. They'll still be able to manipulate assignments and share those things with me.
Yes, even if your students do not have access to Google Drawings or don't even have Google accounts, you as the teacher can still make graphics and export as a PNG, PDF, JPEG, and use them in something your students can access. And if you share a Google Drawings document so that anyone with the link can edit, students can edit the document without an account. No login is required. Okay, let's watch Vanessa's reflection.
So I'm Vanessa, again from Northern New Jersey, and it's interesting because I said in my introduction video that I use Google Drawing a lot in my own classes, which I do. I never really thought to use it as a graphic organizer other than as like a hyperdoc, and even then that was really basic for me this year. I think it's really great to be able to use Google Drawing. I didn't think about using a shape box and a text box so that students can actually interact with the document without manipulating it too much.
I love that Vanessa is having a whole new world of possibilities with Google Drawings open up before her. Drawings is great for graphic organizers, but then, as we'll see throughout class, it's great for designing so many other things. I can't wait for Vanessa to see the learning activity possibilities in week 6. Now, let's hear from Kat. She's new to Google Apps, and her school uses Microsoft 365, but she mentioned something that is really helping her and might help you too.
I do like using the Google because it's very like one-click oriented versus the Microsoft Office 365 where I have like 35 clicks to create something, and I hope I uploaded it right. Oh, also I found helpful on the top of the toolbar of the Google Draw, there was the help. So I went up there to the help and I would type in just a few keywords and it would show me the shortcuts. So I'm going to show that to my students too. Thanks. Learning and growing.
That help menu is powerful. Enter questions or keywords and bring up Google's help files. And of course, you can always do a Google or YouTube search to seek out help. And if that doesn't do it, I'm just an email away. Nomi shared a handy tip in our Google Classroom. If you're commenting on a lot of documents, especially as a teacher, the keyboard shortcut of Control-Alt-M on like a Chromebook or Option-Command-M on a Mac instantly brings up a comment box. Thanks for the tip. So week 1 was all about arrangement. With consistent sizing and spacing, your creations can take on a more professional look. What our classmates shared for the assignment was wide and varied, which is great. Assignments are invitations to create and share, and I am all for taking creative freedom and running with it. And I hope that you create things that you'll be able to put to good use. Let's take a look at some of what was shared for week 1's assignment. You can see all the shared assignments in the class comments for week 1 arranging. There are lots of great ideas here, and so many of you have added comments to your classmates' assignments, which is so great. In fact, let's check out the first assignment posted by Mike. His organizer is actually an activity where teachers drag apps onto the colorful SAMR model wheel that he's constructed here. There are loads of comments that you can see on this one. And I appreciate that Mike has not resolved these comments so that others can learn from them. Now, Mike split a circle into 5 equal parts, and he was wondering if there was an easier way than his method to do this, and his method was kind of complicated to explain. So he made a YouTube video, a screencast tutorial on how he actually did it. You can check this out in the comments on his as well, but he ends up using a pentagon to line up the 5 sides, and then he uses what he calls the Pac-Man tool, and I think that's a good name for it. It makes pie charts, and he lines that up and then makes 5 pieces of the pie, which he can then color independently, and that gives him that colorful chart that he created. So I really thank Mike for sharing his process on that one. Anita's mystery graphic organizer was a hit with classmates. The detective in the middle is a nice touch, and I really appreciate that she took week 1's lessons to heart. You can see that her shapes are a consistent size, distributed vertically, and everything aligns on the right and left sides. Sarah's website map also has great alignment. Everything is evenly spaced, and it looks like it's a blackline master that you'd copy from a textbook. But it wasn't made by a company. It was made by Sarah in Google Drawings. Sherry designed a simple Venn diagram. She used partly transparent fill colors to get the yellow and blue make green effect in the middle. Laura made a choose-your-own-adventure story planner. You can see that she put a lot of consideration into her arrangement. The rounded rectangle border is a nice touch. Roland made a training reflection organizer. Instead of using rectangle shapes, he inserted tables. When others make a copy, they can enter text into the cells of the table. The really nice thing is that a cell will expand as more text is entered. Isn't it cool to get so many comments on your document? Unfortunately, in Google Drawings, I don't think there is a way to hide the comments. Like I said in week 1's video, I'd encourage you not to resolve the comments so that they remain there for other classmates to learn from. If you know of a way to hide them, please let the class know. And I guess you could make a copy, since copies don't copy over the comments, just the document. But then you'd have 2 copies of the same document that you're working with, and it could be messy. Also, I hope you keep in mind that my feedback and your classmates' feedback is there to offer suggestions. You certainly do not have to go along with our ideas. We're just putting them out there as something to consider. I suspect you took the class to grow as an educator and as a designer, so I hope you never take any feedback personally. I'm sure you're embracing the same growth mindset that we want our own students to embrace. Okay, let's talk about Week 2's assignment. Week 2's assignment is to design custom sticky notes. I'll show you how to print on regular sticky notes using a regular printer. You won't actually have to print out your creations, but I think designing for small squares will be a great way to practice some of the techniques I'll show you for designing in black and white. Of course, if you print on color Post-its, it won't exactly be black and white, but what you design on the computer will be. If you remember from week 1, when I compared Google Drawings with Google Slides, really said they are more similar than different, because they both have the same drawing tools. Because the templates I've created for printing on sticky notes uses Google Slides, Week 2's assignment will actually be done in Google Slides instead of Google Drawings. You've seen those tasty videos on social media, right? They show how to cook something and are filmed in a way that makes it very clear and to the point. Parts of the video are sped up really fast, so you can see the whole recipe take shape in a minute or two. I've made a tasty-inspired video to give you an overview for printing on sticky notes. After the 2.5-minute video, I'll give you my tips and techniques for designing for black and white printing. If you go to that address at the start of the video, learninginhand.com/print, which is also in our Google Classroom announcement for this assignment, you can go there to see examples. And I have 2 different templates that you can download, a 3" by 3" or a 1.5" by 2". You print that out just like the video that I created. So tasty. And then you can start designing. If you need the directions all written out, they're also on this page. If you scroll to the bottom, I have lots of ideas that I think you can use for inspiration. Inspiration for maybe practical uses for printing on sticky notes, but also I tried to provide a variety of design choices here for you to notice and use and adapt. So I want to take a look at some of these and how I made them. This is the 3" by 3" template that you can make your own copy of. And it's designed so that you leave the first page blank because you're going to print that out if you decide to print these out as a guide. So page 2 is where you'll do all of your designing. And it is in Google Slides, so unlike Google Drawings, we have multiple slides. I've set up the pages so they're the same size as a piece of paper. I'm going to zoom in just by using the zoom tool up here and making this larger because in fact, I'm going to focus all of my design energy inside of one of the squares because I can always go back and duplicate that and put it into other squares later. So just like it says here, I'm going to switch my tool back to the arrow. I can select text. I can replace what I want to have on here. So let's just get rid of this whole text box so we're starting from a blank slate. And let's start with a reminder note. Because when you're designing in black and white, you end up using positive and negative space to your advantage. And because you're designing for something so small, just 3" by 3", you really want what you do to stand out, even on a small space. So to make the title, I am going to go to my rounded rectangle and just draw that maybe toward the top here. I do want to leave a little margin all the way around the outside of where the sticky note will be so it will kind of be centered. And because this is a rounded rectangle, it's not as rounded as I want, so I'm going to pull this little diamond over and I can make that edge even more rounded. I am going to give this a black fill, and the default line is actually not black, it's gray, so I'm going to change that to black as well. Then I'm going to click on the inside, and you won't be able to see my writing until I turn it into white. And then I can put the word reminder and center my text. Maybe I want to make this bold, or you can get lots of font choices here. What else? What would be a good font for reminder? There you go, or kind of a rounded font there too. I can change the font size, and maybe I'll do that a little later. But now I thought I'd put a little border around this. And this is a look I like. I'm going to get another rounded rectangle, and I'm going to put it just below. Leave that margin. You can kind of tell it's centered. Now, unfortunately, the way I've done this template is you cannot tell if it's centered on the background because that is actually a background image. You can't delete this background through objects. You'd have to actually change the background. And that's a good thing so that you don't have to worry about that background. However, it also means that lining up, you're going to have to kind of eyeball it, use your shift and arrow keys, which I know several of you noted it was a real lifesaver when designing in Google Drawings, and it's the same way here in Google Slides. I made that a little less rounded, and I'm going to make the inside of this shape the fill color. Let's go transparent. The outside I want black and maybe just a little bit thicker. How about 3 point? Now you can see that goes right through my word reminder. So all I have to do is click this rounded rectangle at the top that I did the typing in, and I'm going to choose to change the order and just bring that to the front. So now I have a nice little box here. I could stop here. I see that I kind of want to maybe nudge this up a little bit and maybe make this a little lower. Fiddle with this all day. But what I did on the reminder sticky note is I wanted some lines on there. So to add lines, I'll just go to the line tool and I'll click from one side and go to the other. I'm going to hold down Shift so that I get a straight line. So it's parallel to the bottom and top of the screen. That one's great. I'll kind of move it here. I'm going to use my Command or Control key. Remember, it's Control on Windows and Chrome and on a Chromebook, and Command on a Mac, and whatever keyboard shortcut. This is going to be Command or Control D. And I'll make several of these. Right now, I don't care if they're evenly spaced or not. I mean, I should try, but I can fix that a little bit later. And maybe I want my lines bigger. That many lines look great. So now I need to select these lines. And because the inside of the shape is right there, it makes it a little hard. So what I end up doing is I just draw a box to select those lines. And then I hold down Shift and click what I'd like to subtract from that section. I would like to subtract that outer rounded rectangle. There, good. Now I just have my lines. And then I can go up to my Arrange, and I want to center these vertically. Nope. I do that wrong every time. I did that in week 1. I will do that always. All right, so now they're centered. I think they're probably centered to begin with, maybe, but then I'm going to distribute them vertically. And we move them down a little bit so that I have perfectly distributed lines. The spacing with the outside part of this maybe isn't great, but I could leave a little space there. I also see there's some gaps here, so I could select that, hold down Shift to get rid of that guy, and hold down Shift again to nudge 1 pixel. I'm just a little short on both sides. All right, so I can just select those and just make them a little bit longer. And ta-da. Now there's one thing I'm seeing if I zoom in, is that these lines are actually not black, are they? They're gray. And that's actually kind of a great look. You can keep it that way if you want, but let me select those lines, get rid of that outer one, and I just want to make sure that line color is true black, not a dark gray. There we go. Then the lines all mix together. I think that looks pretty good. I can use this button to fit the whole page in there, so I can see that I got to zoom in about 1. There we go. So there's a reminder. Again, I could change the font. If I wanted to print 6 of these, well, that would be a matter of zoomed in too much there. Zoom in. Oh, that's fine. Get my selector tool. Get all this. I can use the menu option for group. And then keyboard shortcut, Command or Control D to duplicate. Move that over. And then I could take these, duplicate, move them. You can get rid of this text box in the template that tells you how to do this. I'm showing you now, you don't need those directions. And then this can be what I print onto the stickies. But for your assignment, you may want to design 6 different stickies. It's all up to you, how much time you have, what you want to do here, but perhaps you have 6 different stickies and you can put them all onto one template. Or maybe you have 12 different ones. You can duplicate this page and continue. That would be perfectly okay. Let's make our second note a to-do list. Let's put the title up here. How about the words to do? We can center this. We can change the font. There we go. And then I'm designing in black and white. So I'm going to have the fill color of white. I'm going to have black as the outline, and I'm going to make it, we'll keep it 1 for there. I want to show you this. Both Google Drawings and Google Slides do not have a way to do a drop shadow, but you can kind of add that effect. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to duplicate this rectangle so it's the exact same size, but I'm going to give it a black fill. And then I'm going to move this backward and use my arrow keys to fine-tune the location of that rectangle. Just to give it, and click off of there, to give it a little drop shadow, 3D kind of look. And I can select both of those, nudge them over, holding down Shift and arrow. That's pretty cool. I could use this same technique then to make checkboxes, right? A good to-do list would have a checkbox. I want my checkbox to be perfect square, so I'm going to hold down Shift as I draw the rectangle, and it keeps it perfectly square. And this can be the back rectangle, so I'm going to make this one have a fill color of black, transparent line color, duplicate it. The second one, I want a black line color with a white fill, and then I'll move and nudge these kind of like that. Maybe I don't want it a little more subtle there. There we go. So now I have a checkbox. I'm going to select those two objects, those two squares, and I'm going to group them. And usually a to-do list, you have a place to write. So I'm going to get my line tool, hold down Shift, put that there, maybe not quite as long, give it a margin, make the line color black instead of gray. And then I'll just take this, I'm going to group, and then use my keyboard shortcut for duplicate. Use the arrow keys. Now I think the way I use the arrow keys, these might already be evenly distributed, but just to make sure, I'm going to distribute vertically. Well, yep, they were right where they needed to be. And I can tell they're all centered by these guidelines. So now I have a to-do list sticky note that I could print. Designing in black and white means that you might want some black and white icons or clip art. And I've got to show you my favorite website for getting free black and white clip art. And that's the Noun Project at thenounproject.com. I actually have an account to the Noun Project. I pay $99 a year and I can use as many of their icons as I'd like, and I don't have to give any attribution. But you can use the Noun Project for free, but you'll want to give credit to the designer, and that is already imprinted when you use the little icon, or you can move that somewhere else in your project. So you can still use this for free. It's so handy for me that I use it. And I actually use the Mac app that they have here where I can drag and drop right into my project. But since you probably won't have the Mac app, I'll show you here. Let's say I want to make a sticky note where students will have, as a reference, some opinion, words and phrases that they can refer to anytime. And I'm thinking maybe I want a finger that is up. Something just like this. That's my thought. Or even, I like this one. This one's nice and clear. So I can choose it. And they always give you so many options because I don't know what the number is, but the Noun Project has a lot of icons. Just about everything you can think of, they have an icon for. So I'm going to click this, and you want to download the PNG, the Portable Network Graphic. Techies will call that a ping sometimes. And I'll just call this finger. It'll go to my desktop, or you can send it to your Google Drive and then bring it into your project. So I'm going to go over to my sticky note, and I haven't started it yet, but I'm just going to drag and drop, or you can copy and paste or insert. And it's pretty big. So working with images inside of Google Slides and Drawings, this is what you want to avoid, is you drag a side and the aspect ratio changes, it gets smushed. So let me undo that. And instead, I am going to take a corner and hold down Shift, and then it will keep it proportional. No squishing. All right, I think that'll be a great icon to have for sharing opinion phrases. And I thought I'd show you this technique I end up using a lot too, is I'm going to have a square. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key to get a perfect square. Hold down Shift and arrows to center that. and I want a black box. And then inside of this, I'm going to add my title. So let's get a text box. I want the text to be white inside there. Opinion phrases. All right, so I have a title. Maybe I want to center this. And I want to make it so it's, I don't want 2 lines. Nope, that's probably a good size. If I change the font, it probably won't be the right size. Let's see. Let's use that. There you go. Would bold be? No, let's leave it there. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I like that. Now, there's probably a design word for this, but I just call it like a cutout. I'm going to use a rounded rectangle to actually write the real text on this page or on the sticky note. Change the roundness. So it gives it a frame for me to be able to write. And then this and that need to be sent to the back so that I have my finger here. And I don't feel like this is a true white. There we go. And I bet it's outline. So that's how we frame it. Now I can add a text box with my notes. I skipped ahead so you didn't have to watch me create all of that. And I put my icon where it needs to be. So those are just a few of the ways that you can design for black and white. I encourage you to look at the other examples that I've created at learninginhand.com/print. That'll be again in our assignment post, so you can check that out. And be on the lookout this week for design cues. I bet you will run into something that might inspire you. You've probably seen Bitmoji cartoons online. They are personalized avatars that you can actually use anywhere, including in Google Slides and on sticky notes. You might think that you need to use them on a phone app, but actually, you can use them in Google Slides just by going to the Chrome Web Store and searching Bitmoji to get the Bitmoji Chrome extension. It's free. After it's installed, you'll click its icon and then you'll be asked to sign in. If you already have a Bitmoji account and you're all set up, then you're good to go. If you don't, you'll be led through the process of creating your customized cartoon. With Bitmoji all set up in Chrome, I can click the extension anytime and look through my personalized cartoons. When I find one that I want to use, I simply drag and drop it onto my slide. Then I can move it around like any other kind of image. I can resize it and place it right on my note. Now, I like the technique of having my cartoon bleed off the edge of the sticky note. When printed, this has a really neat effect. So I'll leave just a little gap there so my cartoon goes off the edge of the sticky. So I can have some really neat sticky notes that have my Bitmoji cartoon on them, and I do really like handing these out at my workshops. Now, we're talking about designing in black and white, and obviously this cartoon is not in black and white. Though when I print, if my printer is set to print in black and white and gray, it'll be fine. But if you'd like to see what it would look like in grayscale, you can click the image and choose Image Options, and you can recolor it. And you can actually select how dark you want it to be when it is in black and white. This one might look good. If I think that one's too dark, I can either adjust some of the brightness over here or choose a different recolor and make adjustments. I think that will look great. I can't wait to see what you come up with for this assignment. When you share your Google Slides document with sticky notes, please refer to the Posting Your Assignment PDF, which is attached to the assignment post. Remembering to share so that anyone with the link can comment ensures that others, including me, can add feedback in comments on your document. Also, you'd make my day if you share your creations, ideas, learning, anything from class on Twitter using the hashtag #ClassyGraphics. And remember, our Flipgrid is always open for business. Share reflections or share ideas in a selfie video. You might be lucky enough to be featured in the Week 3 video. Now, go make it a great week.